G'day guys, Crypto Trader Vader here for another Poloniex live trading journal. If your first time tuning into one of these, what I do is I'll go through each of these coins that you see on your left of the screen, right around here somewhere, and analyze each of them live. If there's a particular coin that you're interested in, you can just scrub through the video because every coin that I get to, I'll turn the box green so that you can easily see where in the video it's up to. And yeah, we'll go over the previous predictions that I made, whether they're right or wrong, and then I'll make another prediction for the coin for the following week or for the following time period. Just check that that I'm live here and everything's good. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Doug. I appreciate it. If there's any coins you want me to check out, let me know. I'll throw Made in there because I know you love Made. Where are we? Let's go to Poloniex. So let's start it off with some ADA. And you can definitely see it's taken off even further. So last week was the 12th of April, so right around here where I was making my predictions. And it was right around the mini 1, 2, 3, 2 mark at the time. And it's definitely broken through that and gone higher, and even breached through this previous high here. So last week I said generally bullish, and it doesn't look like that's ending anytime soon. So if we back out to the daily or half daily candles, we can see kind of how far some of these run-ups can go, and it's, I mean, well, that's probably a bit close, but it's silly to think that it can get this high, but it's gotten there before against Bitcoin, and it's definitely possible that it gets back up there. Of course, the price of Bitcoin is a lot more now, so the price of the altcoins compared against Bitcoin might not flourish as much, but who knows, they might. Alrighty, so what do I reckon is going to happen with ARDR is that we'll probably continue to rise up until we start to see a kind of a 1, 2, 3 top formation, which is very similar to the 1, 2, 3 bottom, in that you have a 1 up the top, a 2, and then a 3 here, and as it passes this 2 mark and continues downwards, you want to be selling out. So let's move back to the 4-hour candles here. I'm going to copy paste that across because it's definitely still going to remain bullish in my view on that one. Let's move on to Bitcash now. Wow, that jumped up. Cool. That was a watch last week. I just wanted to see what I said the week before that. So on the 5th of April, I said it would be bearish. That was back here, right here, and it stayed pretty much the same. And then I put a watch on it, so I'm not really sure. And it has absolutely taken off. And that, I mean, it doesn't look like it's formed the same sort of patterns. So maybe we'll see that come back down a little bit. Yeah, still not sure about Bitcash, and put a watch on that and see what happens with it. Blackcoin, if you are looking at the screen here, you can see that some of these coins are red and some of them are blue. The red ones are all the ones that I'm invested in now, to some degree, whether it's a small amount or a big amount. And then the blue is ones that I'm watching closely, and then the other ones are ones that I'm not currently looking at, but I still check the charts regularly to see what's going on with it. So there's a few times a bit of resistance around this level where Blackcoin is sitting right now. Now that the 1, 2, 3 bottoms have taken off and passed, what we want to look for is the EMA on the 12 hours crossed over, which it already did a long time ago on Blackcoin. So Blackcoin is definitely in a in a bullish trend here, and I like to stop and identify, the points along the way where it's good for me to take profits. And it looks like the black coin is, still got a ways to go, although there is some strong resistance around the 4100 mark. So let's say here that last week I said 3400 or more, and it's a bull run, and it's definitely broken above that, so I do stick with that, and I think it'll be heading up bullish until at least 4100, where it'll hit some resistance. Bit shares now. Oh, cool. Yeah, Doug, the color code thing. So you just basically right click on the coin that you're looking at, and you click assign color, and then you can just put whatever color you want, and then click assign, and it'll assign it. It's pretty handy. It's very handy for like keeping tabs on what markets you're looking at, which ones you aren't. And then, of course, when you're done, you just click reset there, and then assign color, and it puts it back to the transparent default. Wow, BitShares has absolutely taken off. It's crazy. And, of course, that EMA on the 12-hour candles definitely crossed over as well. That looks to be flourishing. So I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening with the alts and how far they're going to be going. How far they're going to be going up. That's really the question, isn't it? If we kind of... just curious to see how this trend line looks. That looks to be broken. What will happen? Like, how high will it go? That's really the question, isn't it? And my... a lesson that I kind of am trying to teach myself at the moment is the points at which to take profit, because I am finding that sometimes I'm taking the profits a little early, which some people will look at and say, well, profit is profit, so that's a good thing. But on the flip side of that, when I'm incurring losses in a bear market and I'm getting out of trades with a small loss, for the fear that it'll go lower, or because the market hasn't proven me correct. In other words, I cop losses while the market's going down. So you want to be maximizing those profits that I do get in order to not only cover those losses but have a healthier profit margin. So if I'm only taking very small profits in the profit run, then I'm going to be barely covering those losses that I've incurred previously. So that's why it's so important to make sure that I let these winning trades run as long as possible, or at least into the point that it's worth the risk reward. And that's why I like to look left in the charts to see where these previous points of resistance were, where the market has kind of slowed down and met points where it hasn't broken through rapidly. And it seems to be at another one right now, actually. So if it does break above this, we might continue to see it rise up to kind of 4400 levels as for BitShares. So I dare say if it can kind of stay above, have some green candles above this, I don't know, 2850 or so. 2850 equals run up to 4400 or so. That's my prediction. Let's have a look at clams. This is one of my favorite coins. I've got a whole bunch of clams invested in Just Ice, and it's making me profits every single week. Profits. Which one's topping out, in your opinion, Doug? Are you thinking that the altcoin markets overall are topping out? Or are you thinking there's a particular coin that is topping out? BTS. Okay, cool. I want to just go back to that then and just have a look at what you're talking about. So I know that there's this, as I said, there's kind of this resistance point I'll have to, I know you mentioned before that you're going to be putting up a video shortly with some Poloniex analysis, so I'm really looking forward to watching that. And because it's so close, directly after my live stream, it's going to be great to kind of see the comparison there. It's so helpful to learn from those videos. Anyway, let's move on to Clamcoin here. As I said, love Clamcoin. I'm a big fan of it. Does look to be hitting this resistance point, and not very strongly either, so that doesn't look good. Last week on the 12th, I said generally bullish, which it has definitely gone bullish. Oh, we're looking at the 12-hour candles here. Let's just flip that back to the 4. Give me a bit of a slowed down perspective. Yeah, really we need clams to kind of break through this previous spike here that it failed to get above. We really just need it to break through. If it can stay above 54,000 sats or so with a couple of candles, then we'd be in a good position. Let's move on to Civic. Civic again is red, so I've got a position in Civic at the moment. I forget exactly where I bought that position, but this is a position for my 0.2 to 1 Bitcoin journey, which I haven't updated. I know I said that I'd update, and I haven't done that yet, but I will be doing an update and telling you guys all what the new balance is and how I'm going with it. It's been a bit more of a productive week this week. So what's happening with Civic here? We're having kind of a, I don't know, I'd call that a bullish flag, but it does need a breakout for that to kind of be confirmed, right? So we really need that to break out above this 4,500 sats level. Greater than 4,500 sats equals a bull run here. And now moving on to Dash Coin. Well, just Dash rather, not Dash Coin. I know that there's a smaller coin called Dash Coin, which I don't know if it was a fork off of it or something like that. But look at this, Dash is taken off. It's really bottomed out here so clearly, and this is something that I've previously predicted with Dash, is that the movements are generally a lot faster when they go up or down, because it's a masternode coin. So there's not 8 billion coins out there. There's 8 million coins out there. There's 8,000 masternodes, and it's a much better way of looking at it, because it makes a lot more sense to me for people that are buying Dash. I think the majority of them are in it for the masternode, or at least, you know, anticipating a rise in the price due to the masternodes. Whereas the functional use of Dash coins and cryptocurrencies are at the moment not as much for spending as it is for investments. So what's going to happen with Dash? Well, it does look like that it's taken off and broken through this kind of 2 mark here. It broke through, stopped to touch it briefly right around this point, and then just absolutely taken off. And of course now it's hitting this resistance at 0.051, 0.0515 even. So have a look at the 12-hour candles and see if the EMA is crossed over. Ooh, which it's just doing. So probably see a pull back before taking off higher. That'd kind of be my prediction, I think, because generally I think when something goes up very fast like this, if it's going to be a sustainable move up, it does need to consolidate and come back down, and generally that'll come back down a touch or get close to, maybe not touch entirely, but get close to a retest these EMA lines, so that would be my prediction on Dashcoin, I think. Let's move back to the 4-hour candles. I'm going to put here in the brackets C line. Yep. Woo! 60 period MA line. Yep. EMA line, yeah. Alright, decredits. Here we go. This previous resistance here, so it's really staying above. I mean, I think it's fair to say that it's kind of resting on that. And is it staging or is it going higher? Is the real question, right? It's had this 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's broken out. The EMA, I could probably say, have broken apart, and come to touch it several times. It's very much in a bullish trend, but it does look to be slowing. So whether that kind of goes, or whether it stages and then goes up higher, is the real question. I don't know. I'll put a watch on that one just to check that out later, I think. Alrighty, Dogecoin now. You'll note that my Dogecoin is red. I did buy back into Doge after it well and truly broke out, and then it was staging for a moment, and I took the opportunity, I think right around this point, this little pullback here, to buy in, and have my orders set for, I think it's not much higher than this. I think maybe 77 or something like that, around this area. That's where my immediate sell orders are. I think it'll get there, but it definitely is getting, oops, let's delete that line. It's getting crazy now, isn't it? It's going up so fast. So again, I look left on the charts, see where this previous touch was there, where it's struggled to break through here. If we go back further, we'll probably see another one. Yep, right there. So 75, yeah, it's more resistance around there as well. So it might briefly get above that, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it kind of gets to around this level here, where I'll be selling out. But that's what my prediction is. Oh, whoops, I forgot to make that one green. About 77 sats, let's say. Right around that area. It's always a grey area with these cells. What do we got with Ethereum now? Ethereum definitely has turned around, hasn't it? And I struggled when I think I drew this 1, 2, 3 last week. I really struggled to kind of try to pick the right 1, 2, 3, but ultimately it didn't matter because I did buy in back down here. I think I added to my position somewhere up here, so that was definitely a good move. And I said here in my previous notes that it's bullish until 0.067, which it seems to be kind of approaching now. What is that big wick down there? Did someone like sell a huge amount of them or something? That's a little concerning. Look at that EMA, literally crossing over as we speak. So definitely a time that I shouldn't be selling, and I'm gonna just put a note here because I think that's one of the mistakes that I'm making, is that I'm selling it at this point where I should be adding to the position, and it's something I've read about in that book, Phantom of the Pits. Should be adding to the position. Yeah, that wick. See that giant wick right here? When I see a giant wick like that, right, it's concerning because it means that there's a lot of sell pressure, that a big whale has got a big bag of Ethereum and he's gone, just fucking get rid of it, and just dumped it at market price, and it's crashed the market, and of course has immediately essentially recovered as the order books fill up. You know, the prices come back to kind of where it was. So when I see a big wick like this with a small candle, giant wick, small candle, I guess it makes it a little less concerning than if I saw a giant wick with a deeper close, but still that is not great. I mean I don't know what else to think about it. It's something that it's just like a flag in my mind that says just be a little bit careful. That's all. Because all it takes is for another giant whale to come in and sell a huge amount of his Ethereum, dump the price back down, and for people not to have faith enough to bring the price back up to this point. Collapses the market very quickly. So that said, I mean, as I was saying before, in the 4-hour view, it looks to be staging at this point. Looks like a staging platform where it's broken above this previous resistance, and it's very much now a time to buy Ethereum. So I'm going to put in here generally bullish until next week, and I've put an asterisk here to, I think I might remove or at least minimize my sell order that I have at 67, because I think if this is the staging point, then yeah, it's going significantly higher than 0.067. We might see it getting back up to these historical highs. And with a huge coin like Ethereum, I would not be surprised about that. So, you know, it's comparatively, it's very cheap at the moment, but I think it does staging and breaking out now. So really, if we can have the price kind of hit this 67 mark, consolidate for a moment, and then break out further, I think the speed and the velocity of that breakout will get us climbing a lot higher, a lot quicker. That's my thoughts on Ethereum anyway. Alright, let's move on to Expanse. Expanse coin 1 2 3 bottom. I haven't got it flagged as a 1 2 3 bottom. I will do that. I make it blue. I make it blue because it's the only color that I can remember. 1 2 3 blue. So when a 1 2 3 has displayed itself in the market prices, I mark it blue on the left, and then I consider an entry. This giant wick upwards, where everyone got very, very excited, got pumped up, needs to break out. And you can look at it like that as well, but I prefer to look at it like that. Not sure on Expanse. What did I say last week? Bullish 25k sats. Well, it certainly got there. Put a watch on it this week. Keep an eye on it. Some markets I find that I get kind of used to them. I get a feel for them. Get kind of an intuitive understanding of where the market is moving, as opposed to like it starts as analysis and it continues as analysis always, but there's like an intuition that kind of grows with certain markets, and I get a decent feel for it, and I can pick it better than other markets. And there's a few of those that I have, and I think Ethereum is kind of one of them. I get a pretty good feel for Ethereum. And I have kind of a contrarian relationship with library credits. Every time I think that that's going up, it goes down, and every time I think it's going down, it goes up. Alright, so what we're looking at now is Factum. Factum is one of the coins, again, that I'm invested in at the moment. And I think I have some sell orders set up around here, at the top of this arrowhead here. So I do think it's going to be heading up towards there. If we look at this line here where it's previously broken out above the 2, came back to touch it, took off, and you know, obviously it's not going to be a free and clear run up. It's going to have some consolidating along the way, but I do think that that's going to be getting back up to those 410,000 levels. Oh right, I've got it right here. There we go. Alright, now let's move on to a Folden coin. Folden coin. So look, just look at that. Look at where it's been. It's just mental. And if you kind of ignore the lines down the bottom here, right, you can see every time that there's been this big decline. Let's take this one as an example. The decline is a lot slower than the up. The up takes up maybe 1/3 of the decline. So if you take this as a whole picture, the rise up is like a quarter, a third, somewhere around there. It's probably like some sort of Fibonacci sequence that you can use to determine the bull run versus the bear run in that scenario. But I just find it very interesting because a lot of bag holders, you know, slowly sell out of these positions right at the wrong time, and of course the price goes up. So I'm curious. I'm curious about that. There's probably some sort of Fibonacci sequence that I could look at to... Let's take this bull run, right? Until it turns around. So let's say that was the end of the previous... Let's say that this tip right here was the end of the previous run, right? So the start of this bear run here starts at around 23rd of June, continues along until about the 1st, the 6th of the 5th, around that point, right? So I'm curious as to see if the run up, so let's say the start of the bull run, it's probably around about here when it kind of broke out of that 1, 2, 3. So that's so short by comparison. Like even if we include the 1 and the 2, so we start the bull run back here from where the bottom kind of was, right? Where was the bottom? Right around there, probably. What's that, like a third? Paste a couple of these extra arrows in here. Measure the length of that. Look at that. It's like it's essentially a third. Patterns. Patterns are exciting. So then, by that pattern, I mean, this might not be true. This might just be like where you see patterns in things that are just coincidence. But let's assume that it is real for a second. And we take this arrow and we take it the entire length of the bear market, right? And what we do then is we take the half length of the bear market. I'm just eyeballing it, but probably around about there. Maybe a little shorter. And we take that and we place that there. No, even shorter still. So So we take this, we copy that. Sorry, I'm going on a way on a tangent here, but I'm just curious about this. And we paste a third along here. So this is the start of the bull market, right? Start of the bull market's right around here. So we can expect, right, by that same idea, that the bull market will continue until about mid-May, maybe the start to mid-May. So around the 10th or so of May. I don't know. Just got lost in that tangent. But I don't know. Curious to see if that happens. Because if that's the case, then we can kind of use that as a measurement. You know, 1/3 of the, so 2 parts bearish market, 1 part bullish market. Wow, too many drawings on the screen. All right, sorry. Enough with the tangent. Let's get back to the Poloniex trading journal. Okay, so yeah, it will be cool to look back on. That's true. I'm going to leave that drawing up and I'll take a photo. Actually, you know what? I'll take a quick photo of that now, and because I do want to keep a memory of that silliness, just in case it's true. Alright, so that one there, I don't know, but I'll watch it and keep an eye on that. Game credits now. Previous arrows, I'll just remove some of these here, and again, game credits has really taken off, like a lot of the different coins in the alts at the moment. Pretty much all of them essentially have now broken out of these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations and are starting to move upwards. And of course, I'm looking at it through the 12-hour candle at the moment. We have the EMA crossover here, just as it's broken above this 2 and staged. And where will it continue? How long will it continue? In the long term, wow. It's gone incredibly high. Game credits. Just imagine it gets back to 59,000 even. And that's not even the tippy top. So that's just crazy money. But it's not really that crazy money, is it? It's kind of crazy to think that Bitcoin would be worth what it is now. You know, only a couple of years ago it was crazy. So it's definitely not impossible for some of these altcoins to come back and reach not these previous high points, but we're talking historical highs. You know, these crazy levels right up here with where it's 166,000 Satoshi. In the immediate future, though, it's definitely going to encounter some resistance around this mark here, I would imagine, around 25,000 or so. So let's put that in there. And move on to Gnosis. Very similar situation, still in the 12-hour candle, so moving that back to the 4-hour. And 1, 2, 3. Wow. Absolutely taken off. And you can see this previous resistance point where this has spiked and touched it and hasn't gone through, and then it's kind of had this same resistance around this level, and then finally it's broken through, staged, as in come back down to touch it, and then taken off. And this is the same thing that I was showing last week about the bend trade, where you know, you take a channel, let's say the price is moving in this channel, as it exits this box, it comes back down to touch that line before taking off in the direction. And that's what Gnosis has done now. So I don't think that bull market is going to be stopping in Gnosis anytime soon, and we'll probably see some nice highs of these sort of levels. Oops. So the first resistance marker is about 0.0142. Bullish to 0.0142. Alright, GNT. That's gone. It seems like it's gone way too high, too quickly. It doesn't seem like sustainable to me, but maybe that's just my perception. I don't know. It's just gone like this. Whoa, whoa. By that logic, whoa. Wow. All right. Well, I definitely don't know what I'm doing with respect to free drawing on these charts. That's really one of the big resistance markers right up here around 7,500, and it didn't quite get there this run up, so maybe it'll get there next run up. It'll be interesting to see. It's not unforeseen, but I don't really know, so I'm going to put a watch on GNT and potentially get back to that one next week. Have a bit of a closer look. Library credits, 1, 2, 3 bottom here, broke out, came to touch, broke out again, broke above this resistance line, and is that the end of it? No, I don't think so. Probably get back up to these levels, but really it needs to break above that, eh? Here's the next resistance point. If we can get above 3,700, we might be looking for something a bit better. Might be looking for another bull move on library credits. Then again, as I said previously, I'm so bad with library credits. I seem to get that one wrong all the time. Lisk now. Oh, Lisk is in a nice position. So we have this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, kind of meandered along. So it's one of the slower moving ones, but now it's really approaching this 2, and it seems to be kind of really getting up to breaking out point. So we have a look at the EMA here on the 12-hour, and that's very close to approaching. I'll be putting a little star next to that, because if that breaks above that 0.01 140k Satoshi, bull run. I'm just going to put an asterisk next to that because I want to check that one out later, and possibly buy a bigger position in Lisk. I'm in a small position of it now. Litecoin. What you gonna do? I mean, that's really, this is the 3 down here. It's broken beneath, but really it's so hard because that's a double bottom, right? I think double bottoms are a bit rarer. Broken above this moderate trend line here, which is nice. So that's a good sign. We really need to break above that 0.018, because if it's not getting above 0.018, then we're not going to be seeing any bull run. But at the same time, I'll put a little caveat in there that if it goes less than 0.0157, bear. I mean, that's still a very wide gap for the price to kind of move between, but might give me some indication if it does move that way. Oh, hang on, just before we move on to Navcoin, let's have a quick look at Made, which we looked at last week as well. And just by looking at this, the drawings that I left on the screen here seem to be moving up this channel. Let's extend that channel a little bit. Correct that a little bit there. Seems to be solidly moving in that channel. I did buy some Made coin recently, and 12 hour EMAs crossed over. Where's the resistance? That's my question. resistance 5.1, so that'd be kind of a point where I might look at taking some profits at about 5,100 sats. I don't have a notepad on Made. Maybe I'll include that from now on, but yeah, that'd be kind of this point right here is where I'd be kind of taking profits. Let's move on to Navcoin. Oops. 1, 2, 3 bottom, broke out above. So if it's going to follow the same trend as a lot of alts, it can either come back and kind of touch that too, and then take off further. However, not all altcoins follow that protocol. Of course, a lot of them will just take off. Nav, wow, Nav looks great though. I think Navcoin I bought last week, just above this 2 mark. So where's the profit? Where do I take the profits? I guess getting up to this point here, 23,000 sats, 26,000 sats, kind of those levels. I think it's going to be bullish until probably around this resistance point here, 18,000 sats. So I'll put that in here. Bullish to until alrighty. OMG. Oh, big resistance for this point with OMG. However, see these previous times where the price has kind of touched it. This one has touched it again, a second time up, or a third time up here. It's done a fake out breakout, which is kind of the first sign that that resistance might be getting broken. Then it's come back down. Then it's staged, and now look at it. It's broken above this point. It's found this new resistance point, slightly moved up, and where it's previously touched. It's really getting, these wicks are getting past it. So, wow, looks like OMG is going great at the moment. I think that that's a strong buy signal for me, just based on the resistance alone. The fact that it's right up there, it's staying there, it's not coming back down immediately. That is a good sign. So I just want to have a look left here to see what sort of. I'll move it to the 12-hour candle again and whip out this little liney doos. What's it? Don't have a lot of history by the looks of things on Poloniex, so I might have to look at a different chart to see where the previous resistance was for that one. But 0.002, so about 256,000. That'll put a record in there. Rep. Alright, let's move on here. Auger. Maybe I'll take out this coin out of my analysis and add in Made coin instead. Made safe. Oh, excuse me. It's quite late here. Look at that though. Part of this very much larger in the 12-hour candle. We are 1, 2, 3 bottom forming. And if we zoom in and change back to 4-hour, you can see it's absolutely taken off. What the fuck happened with Rep? Was this something that must have been some news, some new listing or something? Still don't know with that one. What do we got here? Sia coin. Trading this one. I'm not in a position, which is sad to me, because that's a beautiful formation and a clear breakout And the 12-hour EMA would have crossed over as well, just judging by that. Whoops. Broken out above, come back to touch the EMA, and probably continue to take off. So that'll be bullish until 260, I think. 260 sats. So you can see last week I actually said bullish to 230/260, and it did stop at around this 230 mark, right? Had some resistance right there, and looks to have broken through now. Come back to touch it, and we'll go higher. So let's move that on there and make a new line down here. Alright, steam now. Wow, another one that's staging big pushes with steam at the moment. Huge. Look at that. And it's staying up there. That's what's so exciting. This isn't one of those pump and dump coins that just gets pushed right up thanks to McAfee and then gets pummeled back down when people realize it's ridiculous to buy off McAfee. And but this one here, it just gets pumped up, you know, consolidates. That's not crashing. That's coming back to retest these levels. And when it breaks out, because it definitely will, 34 thou sats, it'll get back to these other resistance points along the way, which looks there, kind of around, right around here, 30. Oh, that's the current one we're at. What's the next one? Right here is kind of right here, I'd say, because that's touched on the way back down as well. So around 40k really. Bullish until 40k sats. Very good storage. Alright, moving on. And this, of course, is, you know, mini 1 2 3 bottom formation as part of the larger 1 2 3 bottom. So it has now broken above this larger 2. So if we move this 2 right back here, we move this 1 back here, and we move this 3 back here, then we have an accurate picture of larger. And now this 2 mark, where it's failed to break through on this occasion back at the start of April, it has now, looks like it has broken through. So storage coin is looking like it's setting up for a bull move as well. Where will that go? Well, let's have a look at the previous resistance points here. So it'll probably get to around, what, 15k sats? At least there. You know, we'll probably set up to go higher from there if it has the momentum behind it, but it'll probably at least touch there, and I will probably put a star here. Going to look to exit some of my position at around that point. Take some profits. Alright, moving on. Stellar, Lumens. Wow. 1 2 3. Broken out. Boom. Big move for Lumens. Resistance there. Next resistance up there. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to continue going up. That's a big drop. It'll need to go sideways for a little while. Like, the harder something goes up, the more that I'm skeptical about the long-term potential of it staying up and continuing the trend. So, just because there's a lot of pressure then to sell. You know, it's psychology. I mean, psychologically rather, you know, things need to go slowly up for people to get used to the price of something being a little bit higher. You know, if you go to the grocery store, and yeah, exactly, Lumbridge said it, it's too late to buy. But if you go to the grocery store and bread like jumps up from $1 for a loaf to like $1.80, like instantly, you're kind of very resistant to buy it. You're gonna look around for a cheaper deal. But if it's like $1.10, and then like a couple months later it's $1.20, these slight increases are psychologically, they make sense, and so we don't question them as much. But when something goes up so quickly, like Lumens, makes me think, yeah, leave that one to the crazy pumpers. Watch that. Alright, Strat, here's another one. So I put this on my trading view quite recently in my Lumbridge City forums journal as well about this staging and breaking up above this 2 mark, and of course it has gone above it now. Let's have a look at the EMA. Well and truly crossed over now, so that's well and truly in a bull trend. Where will it stop? It's always my question, like where's it gonna either slow down or stop? Even at this point, really. 7,600 or so, 76. Yep. When does it make a 1, 2, 3 top? Well, that's the question, right? So I like the idea of looking for these 1, 2, 3 top formations, because you look for the, say, the 1, 2, 3 bottom, right? And then as it breaks out, you make your purchase right here. And then of course, as it's topping out, you've got this 1, 2, 3 top, and then you place your sell here, right? So if you I know it seems more risky, right, because this is a lot more guaranteed, this profit margin from 60, 70k sats to 110 or so. So that's decent profit. But if you're taking profits along the way and you're getting out of positions, I guess you're being a little bit more reluctant, risk reluctant. I don't know what you call it, but I guess a little less risky than you want to take profits along the way instead of dumping at a particular point. Then I like to look left for these previous resistance points to try and figure out, well, if it's going to break higher, there's a chance that it might break, say, above this point, and I might be able to, instead of waiting for the 1, 2, 3 for the 1, 2, 3 top formation to fall through, I might be able to catch a little extra profit above that position by selling some of my position higher. I don't know, it's all still a work in progress, isn't it? Trying to figure all this stuff out. One thing's for sure though, Strat has formed 1, 2, 3, broken out, EMA, everything's ticked with regard to Strat, so now's the time to be buying Strat and adding to the position as the market continues to rise and go above these previous resistance points. VTC now. Wait, I'm looking at Syscoin actually. Let's move on to VTC. Syscoin's one of my longer term holds. So I haven't got that red because it's red positions are only for trading positions, not long positions. I guess you can call that a 1, 2, 3. It's pretty sloppy if you ask me, but it has now broken above this 2 mark and made a solid green candle, and it looks to be turning around. So wow, that actually looks like a I'll mark that as generally bullish until next week, because that looks like it's breaking out pretty much now-ish. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to that one in my diary, and I'll be keeping an eye on that later tonight, and tomorrow I'll be checking that and buy a position, hopefully, if it's continuing that way. XCP. One, two, three, broken out, staged, and now taking off. And I think I bought at this staging point. I think I bought back here actually and added on already. This is a 12-hour view, of course, so the EMA is already crossed over. If we look to a 4-hour view, we can kind of see the slower progression of that trend. Definitely has formed it. And if we look left to see where the previous resistance for XCP is, it's all the way up here. One thing I learnt, actually, Doug, you'll be interested in this. One thing I learnt in this this book here, Money is My Friend. Great book, by the way. Really enjoying it. one thing I really like about it is that the author talks about setting financial goals, and he says one of the things he says is set some pie in the sky stuff, because if you set your goals that are realistic and limit yourself to setting financial goals that are realistic, that's based on the mindset that you have had in the past to bring you to this point. So you're always going to be somewhat limited unless you kind of make what may seem like crazy or pie in the sky financial goals. And kind of when I take that same idea of setting financial goals to the markets, it's kind of similar. You can look at kind of taking profits at small mini positions along the way, but you should also have kind of, you know, some of your positions set up using kind of Doug's popcorn trading method, where you've got these real pie in the sky kind of crazy outlandish prices, and if, you know, as an example, counterparty starts to get really pumped and this turns around, we can easily see, you know, 500,000 sats again. Not unheard of at all. Last week I did say generally bullish until next week. Certainly the case. Continuing up. The velocity, right? So it's not like the market just goes like that and goes in a straight line. It builds and builds and builds until it becomes unsustainable. That's just the nature of... That's just human nature. That's the cycle of the markets. And then it consolidates. It's waves, man. It's waves. That's why I really recommend watching that documentary by Ray Dalio about the economic machine. I posted it on my Steam. Yeah, let's do a hangout. We'll chat more, man. I'm curious, just based on I do want to wrap this up, and I'm conscious of time because I think I'm getting close to an hour now. But just really quickly, I'm curious about this idea. We take the top of the last market, the start of the bearish trend. I could probably say that it's back here because that was where the top was, and then we go kind of halfway, copy paste. Yeah, that's about half. That's good. And we paste it again, and that's kind of the length that the bull market takes, right? So with that in mind, I'd probably say that counterparty would be reaching maybe 315 to 380,000 sats in this run-up. Based on that, this, I don't know, whatever you call this, the do flicky indicator. Just the one, you know, the 1/3, the 1/2 of the bear market equals the bull market. Anyway, I don't want to go on another tangent, but that's my thoughts on that. XMR. Let's move on. Monero. Wow. I'm really happy to see this because I own some Monero, just one or two of them, and I thought that it was kind of, you know, trending against the alt market, but lo and behold, it's really taken off. Staging now at this point where the previous resistance was, or where it's kind of had a lot of muddy interactions. I'd say probably the resistance would be there and there. And probably stay around this, I think. If I was to guess with Monero, I'd probably say that it stays somewhere around these lines for at least the next week. Even though I'm bullish very much on Monero in the long term. Doug, we differ in our opinions on the on Monero and a lot of those privacy coins getting getting a big governmental crackdown. I do agree that, you know, the government obviously wants to control the money, and Monero presents somewhat a bigger threat to their tracking of where money is going than Bitcoin does. Bitcoin kind of enables them to use blockchain analysis to find out where things go, and having all exchanges having know your customer, having your information, makes that a lot easier for governments in some ways. Whereas Monero blocks that. I just don't think that the the government is in the immediate future will be looking to ban, currencies like Monero and others. I think there needs to be events that happen that will push that to maybe if there's over the next 6 months or a year, there's a lot more crime or terrorism, chatter associated with Monero or these privacy currencies, then yeah. I think I'll do this to increase trust in Bitcoin and public chains, then yep. Yeah. Very true. What are we doing? So we're in XPM, just last couple of coins now. XPM has just really been surprising me. It was very contrarian to the trend of a lot of altcoins in that it wasn't getting absolutely pummeled into the ground more recently. It kind of actually staged and is now looking to move higher. This could be an incredible moment for Primecoin. If we look at the very much the longer term picture of Primecoin, this you can't look at this chart and see this bullish flag and say that's nothing. That is absolutely something. If it's breaking out and staying above 10,000 sats, Primecoin is going to be going up a lot, I think. Greater than symbol, greater than 10k sats, and this will go on a bull run up back to the stars. So it's not I don't think it's a dumb decision to own a little bit of Primecoin the way that it's currently staging, as it could be going up. But of course, that's really not. Yeah, it's not a guarantee, is it? Nothing is. Right, and the last two coins here, Ripple. Ripple. Big spikes in the 12-hour candle. Let's move back into the 4. Let's have a zoomed in view of most recent kind of period. 1, 2, 3 bottom down here, did break out, and of course now is staging at this point. Needs to break out above that. Needs to break out above that kind of 89, really 9,000 sats. Needs to get above 9k sats for a bull run on that one. That's the next resistance marker, I think. Zcash. Yep, staging like the rest of them. Zcash was a little bit slower off the mark, I think, but now 1, 2, 3, and now it's breaking above it. I was bearish last week. I'm definitely not now. Generally bullish until next week, and I'm going to put a little asterisk right here because that is another one that I'll buy. So I've got Lisk, Storage, VTC, and Zcash to look at tonight and tomorrow to possibly buy them. Well, that is another trading journal. I'll just hang on 2 secs to see if there's any chats that come through for any other coins you guys want me to check out. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, yeah, checking out my my journey and my journal. Tomorrow I will. I know I said it last week and I didn't, but tomorrow we'll be putting out an update on the 0.2 to 1 Bitcoin journey and how that's going and where I'm at with it, what the balance is, kind of a few of the different trades that I've done, because obviously the balance is, you've guessed, has probably increased somewhat. So during the first kind of maybe 6 weeks or so of the journey, I was pretty much staying put at around 0.2 Bitcoin. And now, of course, it's gone up a little bit. Haven't made huge gains, but I'm being very conservative with my trading and not taking huge risks. The maximum that I'm trading on any one trade is 0.02, which is 10% of my trading allocation. However, each position I'm only putting on 0.01, which is 5%. So initially I'll put on 0.01 Bitcoin, which is about 5% of the trading allocation, and then if it's proven correct, I'll add another 0.01, but that's the max that I'll do. So I'm being very conservative with that trading. Anyway, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. I'll talk to you soon, Doug, and we'll do another hangout soon. All right, peace.